Welcome to the EntrePastors podcast on YouTube. This is a show that helps pastors think, act, and thrive as prosperous entrepreneurs. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the EntrePastors podcast. I'm John Sanders. I'm one of the co-founders of EntrePastors, here with my friend and fellow co-founder, Les Hughes. Les, you and I just got back from Florida, man. How's things going with you?
Oh, what's going on, John? I tell you, it's a lot colder here than it was in Florida. I can tell you that.
For sure.
We got a good topic today. What we got?
We do. You and I just got back from spending time at a conference down in Orlando, the PodFest conference, which I believe is actually one of the larger podcasting conferences in the world. It brings together some of the biggest names in content creation, YouTube, all the things. And it was a really great time to learn with and from some of these experts, as well as people that are just getting started. And you and I have a conversation that we want to share today that kind of gets into something that came out of PodFest. And it's something that absolutely affects every single one of our listeners, anyone who's trying to promote a business. It's this idea of self-promotion. How do you tell other people, whether you're a podcaster or not, if you have a business, if you have something where you are trying to solve a problem for someone by selling a product, a service, there's that thing in most of us that we struggle to promote ourselves. We struggle to tell everyone what we're doing and how we can help them. I would contend, unless you can speak into this if you want, but for Christians, for pastors, that's probably multiplied even more so because of, the sense of humility that's there, or maybe the lack of humility to put yourself out there.
Yeah. Well, we fall back, I think, sometimes on one of the Proverbs, says, let another man praise you and not your own mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's a proverb. It's certainly a great, wise principle to live by when it comes to what it's intended for. But when we're talking about marketplace things and increasing our platform or our influence or our voice for a different reason, we're wanting to help people, and we're wanting the people to receive the help that they need. And the only way you can do that is if people know it. Jesus also said to do your good deeds so that they can be seen by other people and glorify your Father in heaven. So there's a time for promotion and there's a time for silence and letting somebody else talk about you. But this is certainly within the realm of what it's all right, in my opinion, at least, for a leader to do.
Yeah. And thus the title of this episode, 5 Tips for Healthy Self-Promotion, because those do not have to be mutually exclusive in terms of either or. Like, you can let your deeds shine in front of others, that they glorify God, and you can also benefit in the process if you're running a business. And both can be true. You can glorify God through your business activities and marketplace activities. There is a healthy way to tell other people what you have available to serve them. And there's certainly unhealthy ways. And we're going to focus on 5 tips that can help people promote their thing. Again, doesn't matter if it's a podcast or a YouTube channel or pressure washing business or whatever the case may be. Let's jump into this list. Les, I'm going to let you take the first one here. And I think this was a direct takeaway from one of the workshops that you sat through, but take it away.
Yeah, I came in the back of the room, actually, where at the end of one of the sessions. And so this presenter was wrapping up her talk, and during the talk, she must have done some self-promotion, and at the end, in a tactful way. And at the very end of the talk, she was kind of going into her service and what she had to offer, and then wrapped it up. And during the Q&A part there at the end, somebody said, how did you get to the point where you were comfortable with self-promotion and do it in such a natural way, not a pushy way, but unapologetic as well? And the lady had 2 things to say. And the first one she said was, well, the first way I overcame that reluctance was I really got tired of being broke. And she wasn't kidding. You could tell
Mhm.
by the look on her face that it was fresh for her. And she just said, I came to the realization that what I had to offer was really going to help a lot of people. But if nobody knew about it, then nobody was going to receive help and I wouldn't get paid. And she said, I really got tired of living paycheck to paycheck and being broke. And I realized if anybody was going to pay me for what I do, they had to know about it. And then she said it got easier to start promoting herself more. It made sense to me.
Yeah, and you and I sat just so people understand. I mean, Podfest was this incredible. There were so many different workout or workshops and breakout sessions. I mean, just so many different
Dozens,
stages.
dozens and dozens.
You
Yeah.
couldn't sit through all of them. I mean, you had to
Yep.
literally pick and choose between just amazing content, and not to mention all the relationships in the hallway, which we'll get to that later on and is one of our listed items here. But I heard the same thing, Les. One of the cool things about Podfest is that there's world-renowned speakers and presenters that have built incredible audiences of, to the millions in some cases. And then they're also stacked right up alongside of a presenter who's just getting started and they're sharing what
Hmm.
they know. And it's kind of cool to be surrounded by both of those elements and everything in between. But you could tell the
Yeah.
pros, the ones that have been doing it a while, they
Yeah.
they all had the ability to self-promote their platform, their services, their products, their offering in a
Hmm.
non-tacky way. You didn't feel icky, hearing them.
No.
Just in many ways, you felt inspired, like, wow, that's great. So there's absolutely a way to do it. And I love where that lady started. And I think it
Mhm.
resonates with our audience. She got sick and tired of being broke. And pastor,
Yeah.
I know I'm speaking to a pastor today
Oh yeah.
who is
Big time.
sick and tired of being broke. And so the reason I'm getting a little animated about this is I'm getting sick and tired of hearing stories of pastors who have been introduced to the EntrePastors platform and have yet to pick up the phone and call to take advantage of a free coaching call that Jon or Les has offered to just reach out and get the process started. Maybe you're not sick and tired enough yet. And man, I wish you were. I wish you didn't have to wait till you just got completely, you know, tired of living that way. But that's step one, I guess. Once you learn that this is something's got to change, that'll help move you to a place where you're ready to start taking action and telling the world that, hey, I'm in business and I can help solve your problem. So that's a good one. What else you
There
got,
you go.
Les?
Well, another thing that this presenter said was really the second tip that she gave for being able to promote your service or I guess yourself in some ways with confidence is she said, "Yeah, I started finishing projects, and when I started completing things, then I became more confident that what I promised someone, when I made somebody a promise, I was going to be able to deliver the goods because I had done it, and I've lived that. Whether it's writing or another sort of project where you can actually like it's not like mowing the grass where it's never quite done, it just keeps on growing. When
Mhm.
you're involved in a project or delivering a service and it's done and you sort of tie a bow on it and set it aside and go to the next thing, it does increase your level of confidence that you're able to deliver on whatever it is that you promise. And so sometimes I think some reluctance of promoting comes from the fact that we kind of wonder, I think I can do that, but I'm sort of new at it. I'm not so sure I can do it or do it the way they want it done or do it in the time frame that they want it done. But once you do a few of those things and you get some of those wins under your belt, then there's no problem making that promise to someone else because you've done it before.
Yeah, and basically you've rattled off two here on our list. So number two, we have down grow in confidence by completing the projects you start, and then number three goes right along with that deliver what you promise. Unless I'll just share, as I heard you saying that, I'll share two stories from my own entree pastor journey in recent years. So when I started a handyman business a few years ago, Dakota Small Jobs, that's what I'm doing is just little small jobs. There is that imposter syndrome you're feeling like, can I even do this? Am I good enough to be out doing this type of thing and advertising it? But once you start getting a few accomplished projects under your belt, you do grow in confidence. And the next time you get that phone call, you just show up with a whole new level of confidence to say, I can help you.
No
I can
doubt.
solve your problem. We can do it. And so that absolutely helps to promote it is the confidence, but you're never going to get that if you don't take that first uncomfortable
That's
step.
right.
You feel like I'm in imposter syndrome a little bit.
Yeah, and
Currently,
it also helps you, John, to be very careful and deliberate about the promise that you're making. So for example, I've witnessed some of this or experienced some of it in the writing world. Um, I've worked on several projects now and at different levels, from full blown ghostwriting to strategic book coaching or maybe co-authoring as well. And so last year, thankfully, the first person that I've worked closely with on a book and even wrote a portion of it hit the bestseller list. Okay.
nice.
So as I had no, this person did the work. They did the hardest part of the work. I had a hand in it, according to what they asked me to do. But I'll just say it was a significant role, all right, a significant hand in it. So, but this is the fact, okay? So it's not bombastic, and it's not exaggerating and all that kind of business that sometimes people that get caught up in that sales mode can fall into. I get that, but it's just I did some work with someone. They did a lot of the work too. It's a bestseller now. So now I can as I'm having conversations with people, I can talk about that with full confidence, giving even most of the credit to the other person. But the fact is, that's still a finished project that's in my arsenal now that I can pull out and use when I need to. So I promise you, the conversations that I'm having now take on a different tone because of that project. And you never know when you're doing them how they're going to turn out. But that one turned out really good.
Yeah, and I'm in the exact same spot with my Dakota small jobs business. I'm showing up with far more confidence today, in a good way that helps my customers probably feel like he actually knows what he's doing and talking about versus the first few months when I was getting started. But I'm reminding myself of that a lot because currently I'm also launching another home service business with one of my other sons, where we call it 605 Blind. 605 is the area code for the entire state of South Dakota. So it makes sense here regionally when people hear 605 blinds, but it's
Mhm.
custom, window treatments and that sort of thing. I've watched my brother have just tremendous success in this space for a long time, like 2 decades. And at multiple points along the journey, I've thought about jumping into this. And for a lot of reasons, I never did until recently. I just said, we're going for it. But the biggest discomfort in the whole thing, at least for me, is the learning curve around the product. There's so much you don't know, and you're not really gonna know it until you get in and start doing it. And so I'm reminding myself of that reality. Each little project that we accomplish, each little win that we have moving forward gives us confidence to show up. And then to the number three, Les, deliver what you promise. This is just a mindset. And this is where I think a pastor who is good with people, which hopefully is most of them, all of them, I would
Mhm.
hope. This goes back to where I say often that pastors have an unfair advantage in the marketplace. Even if you truly don't know everything about what you're trying to do to help solve problems for your customer in your business, if you simply do not abandon them in the journey and you say one way or another, we're going to deliver on this for you. We're going to figure this thing out. That just goes a long way in building a business that people trust. And again, you then can promote that I'm that we are a business of integrity. We will stand beside you. We
Mhm.
will stand beside our work. We will deliver on what we promise, even if we make some mistakes along the way.
That's
And
right.
again, that's healthy. It's healthy self-promotion. So I love that. Anything else you got?
Yeah, and yeah, along with that, before we go to the next one, so if you're keeping up or taking notes, it's get tired of being broke, grow in confidence by completing the projects you start, and then deliver what you promise. And just as a footnote on that one, um, when you make, I mean, pastors are people of integrity. We care about keeping our word, and so uh, be careful what you promise, but deliver on what you promise, and just do it in an authentic way. And this goes a little bit against some of the advice that you hear, where people say, "Fake it till you make it." What they're really usually talking about there is not being deceptive.
Right.
What they are implying by that is, you got to just do things before you see yourself as an expert. Just do it, do the work, and do it with a level of confidence and boldness. We're not talking about being inauthentic. We're just saying promise what you really believe that you can do, and then go out and do it. So,
Yeah.
what's the next one?
So this next one is one that you and I have kind of talked about less as we've shared our observations from Podfest. The way I'm going to label it, number 4, if you're taking notes at home, is be interested, not just interesting. But I want to unpack this. Be interested, not just interesting. First of all, I want to get this out of the way by saying you and I were surrounded by incredible people. There was a great community at this Podfest. Some just wonderful people
Yeah.
there. And also, there were some interesting characters there as well. And I'm not naming any names or pointing anyone out individually. Well, I am going to share a couple stories,
You kind of
but here's the takeaway, Les. You and I were in a culture, we were surrounded by people that were very much into self-promotion. Again,
creative.
yeah, well, creative, some of them, but I'm not I'm not saying again that it's bad because you can promote yourself in a healthy way. So I want to keep that part of the
Can.
tension, but also you can promote yourself in a way that is full of the vanity metrics that we often think about with social media. And you and I both saw plenty of that there as well, where you've got, everybody's walking around with a selfie stick and the light, the camera on their face. Some of them have an entourage of people following them around, getting just the right shot, just the right pose. And again, that in and of itself is not necessarily a problem based on everything we've already said. If you have something you're doing to help people, you have to tell the world that you're able to help them.
I just
But
have this
when,
sense that you're holding back a little bit. I have a sense that there's something else, an
well,
example that you're really talking about, but you
I'm
may
going to
be
tell the examples, but the
okay.
point is that there's people that are just hungry for attention. They just want to be interesting, but they're not actually interested in serving others.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
here's the big takeaway. Then we'll get to some of the colorful commentary. The big takeaway, Pastor, is you need to actually be solving a problem for somebody. You need to actually be adding value because when you are, it can really take a lot of that fear or that ick, if you will, of self promotion away because it's like I'm only promoting this because I want to help you. And yes, as I help you and as I add value to your life, I will be rewarded financially. And I'm also very okay with that arrangement. But I'm actually interested in helping serve you. I'm not just trying to be interested and have a following. And so, two of the stories that you and I will share, I'll share one, you can share the other. How about that, Les?
I don't know that I would know what the other one is. I
I
think
bet
I know
it'll
what one
come
of
to
them
you as
is.
I'm talking. But
All
so
right.
I'm standing
Process
in
of elimination.
yeah, I'm standing in the back of a room at one of the workshops, and in through the door comes an individual with a stroller, which I thought instantly was kind of interesting because there's no kids really at this event. Not that they weren't allowed, it's just nobody had kids running around. So here comes a stroller, but what I very quickly realized is that in this stroller is not a child. It is not one, but two monkeys, like legit monkeys. And this gal comes and parks right next to me with her stroller of monkeys. And they are thrashing around inside this stroller, creating all kinds of chaos, being noisy. She's rummaging through the stroller, feeding them with the bottle through the little net thing that they're trapped in there. And they're
So
they're
picture
squeaking.
music box and a tin cup kind of monkey
Les,
going
I'm telling
in the
you,
park.
she had my attention. Like, and that's what I believe she wanted. She wanted the
Sure.
attention of other people. My attention
Mhm.
was no longer on the speaker who could
Mission
actually help
accomplished.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
and now my attention is on these two monkeys that are parked right next to me. So that's an extreme example, but it's an example of
Mm.
someone that is, probably seeking more attention. That she didn't add value to that room. She added a distraction, but she got the attention she was probably looking for. Now, do you remember
Yeah.
the
I
other
saw the monkeys.
example?
You
The,
talking
the
about
other
the guy that was walking around with the fur around his neck that
that
was
guy.
attached to a dog?
Yes.
Yeah. He had a dog around his neck.
He wore a dog around
He
his
wore a
neck the
dog.
entire
He
conference,
sure did.
like
Hmm.
a real living dog, probably like a quote unquote support dog.
It was very comfortable up there too. It was like that was his place, I think.
That you could tell that dog spends a lot of time
Oh,
on that dude's neck.
yeah. Good thing it wasn't a
Again,
boa.
yeah, and I'm just looking at that going, why are we doing this? Like we're doing this because we want attention. Like this dude's almost looking at you like, do you see this dog around my neck? And by the way, for the single
No, what
guys
dog?
listening, the single guys in the audience, I just got to tell you, I have never once saw a woman following this guy trying to get his phone number or get a
He was
date
by
with him.
himself.
He was
Yeah, he
by
was.
himself very much.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
so again, there could be a real story, maybe that a doctor prescribed that dog to be on his neck. I'm not sure. Maybe the
Mm.
person needed the monkeys in their stroller. Here's the point. Some of the folks we were surrounded with were clearly seeking attention. And then that really makes me question how much value are you adding into someone's life? We're having a little bit of fun with the monkey and the dog necklace here, but the real takeaway is rather than just simply trying to promote yourself for the sake of being known and having the notoriety and the fame or all of that, you're actually helping solve problems for people. And as a pastor, that's really one thing I want to challenge you with. It's become a theme more and more in recent weeks and months at EntrePastors. I'm getting frustrated watching pastors try to start a business that's not actually solving a real problem for people in the world. And I say that gently because I don't want to make you feel bad if you're sitting here going, but I'm really passionate about sharing my story in a book. That's great. Everyone should write their story in a book, but nobody's probably out there asking to buy your book with your story in it right now. You have to figure out how your story solves a problem for someone else. And and actually go solve the problem that people are asking for help with. So be interested, not just interesting. Les, that's number 4. What have you got for number 5?
Number 5 is to invest in the right community. It was an investment for you and for me to go down there in person and be there, and it's one that you don't have to necessarily get a return on that investment like while you're there or even day one. But in the long run, it's good to be around other people who have similar goals, who can help one another. Your community.
Yeah, and you and I have some real stories of that. I will not name names on this, but one of the takeaways from you and me making an investment to be in that community, in that room, if you will, there was a national ministry there that met us, heard about our story, took an interest. They have a podcast that is probably going to reach all kinds of pastors, and they're likely going to promote EntrePastors on their podcast at some point. And in faith, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to believe that day is coming.
Yep.
And so when that day comes, we'll name names and tell you who it is. But that would not have happened if we weren't in the right room, if we hadn't made that investment to be there. And on a smaller level, Les, you and I both met people who, once they heard about us, they're like, "Oh, I got to tell so and so about you." I was
Mm-hmm.
introduced to multiple people from
Yep.
other guests, some that I already knew, and some that were new friends that we just met there. And so that's the point. You make the investment into the right community. It is a form of self-promotion because others will carry your message and introduce you to the right people
Yeah.
and open doors for you. So
Yep. That's very good, man.
there you go. So 5 tips for healthy self-promotion. If you're a pastor that's just getting started and or maybe really struggling with the idea like I don't know how to promote my business, what we want you to take away from this is that there's a way to do it and to do it healthy
Yeah.
and to do it in a way that's not, gross and not over the top and not lacking integrity. So
Yeah.
definitely be someone that is promoting your business in a healthy way. Les, before we
Well
sign
said.
off, let's invite people into our community who may not be a part of our business builders community. Tell them about it and tell them how they can join if they want to jump in.
There's several levels, of course, to jump in at. The best way, one of the best ways, is to go to our main website that's got it all there in some form. It's entrepastors.com. In a more personal way, you can reach out to Jon or myself just by email, jon@entrepastors.com or les@entrepastors.com. We'd really enjoy getting to know you and point you in the right direction if we can.
Yeah, our business builders community is a group of ministry minded people that meet every single week on a group coaching call. $99 a month to be a part of that. It's for people who are launching a business and getting started. And these are the types of conversations we have regularly. We genuinely believe we can help you, and we'd love to see you in that community if that would be a good fit for you. So come on
Yeah,
in.
and you don't have to be tired of being broke. If that's the case, you're our people. Let's go. Let's talk. But you might be somebody that's just gotten started, or you may be somebody that's actually very successful in the marketplace, but you want to meet some like-minded people, some people that you can celebrate that with, and we've got that too.
Sounds good. Les, it was a pleasure hanging out with you, man. Have a good week.
Yeah, man.
See you next
All right.
week on the next episode. God bless everyone.
All
Well, hey, thanks for watching this episode of the EntrePastors podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be notified every time we release a new episode. If you'd like to get connected to other pastors who are learning to think, act, and thrive as prosperous entrepreneurs, then we invite you to check us out on Facebook. Just search for the EntrePastors Connect group, answer a few of our simple questions there, and we'd love to include you in the conversations. And if you're really ready to go to the next level, then we invite you to join our EntrePastors membership community. When you become a monthly subscriber, you will receive access to courses, exclusive community, and coaching that will help you along in your own EntrePastors journey. If there's anything else we can do to serve you, please visit us at EntrePastors.com, and we will do our best to serve you there. God bless everybody. See you soon.